Hello, my name is Rachel Dutton and this is my field placement portfolio for spring of 2013. This semester I was placed at Garfield Elementary. It's an urban school, and throughout this video I will be sharing many excerpts of how my field placement went over the semester. I'll be sharing lessons and stuff that I did and just anything that I have learned throughout the semester. And without further ado, here it is. Last semester I was at Birmingham Elementary in first grade, and this semester I'm at Garfield Elementary in kindergarten. So far I noticed a few differences between Birmingham and Garfield, although they're both urban schools. First of all, I noticed that Garfield had a lot more resources to use, such as my teacher has a smart board, a whiteboard, a projector, a bunch of books, Play-Doh, puzzles, and all that my teacher had at Birmingham was like a whiteboard, a few textbooks, and that was really about it, besides the general marker paper and everything like that. I thought that was interesting because they're both urban schools and they're both in the same district of Toledo, but Garfield definitely had a lot more resources. Everything else was really similar. I got to go to gym today, which I did not do last semester, and the lunchroom was really the same. They still used microphones, and the principal still yelled at kindergartners and first graders for doing silly things like spilling juice. But otherwise, things were a little different, and I enjoyed it. Today, I had a much more challenging day than I've ever had last semester, and so it was definitely different. I've never done kindergarten before, and I didn't know a lot of what it was about. So, learning what they were learning and trying to catch up, because last week was more playtime, was definitely different. In addition, I learned a lot about discipline last semester, and so I tried to apply that this semester. And so I had an instance with a student who was fooling around, and I told them just to stop, and I told them I wasn't going to put up with that. Well, I figured my teacher would want me to do that because that's what I was expecting me at an urban school last semester, but then this semester she was going and defending the kid, and it kind of seemed like I overstepped my boundaries, which I was kind of confused about because I was really working on developing discipline last semester, so I definitely still have a lot more to learn about the rules and regulations at Garfield versus Birmingham. Even though they're similar urban schools, I need to learn more, and otherwise everything went well. Today I had a really cool experience. In the morning we had a substitute teacher, and so I got to get a little bit more involved, and I got to do a read aloud, which was pretty cool. Well, every Tuesday morning also they go to gym. I usually just watch them and keep them behaving until their teacher gets back. Well, since we had a sub today, he got back early, and so he started telling me more about his self and just what he has done in the past. Well, he told me that he was a religious pastor for a really long time, that he's a fatherly figure to those who want to accept him as that. And he was telling me a lot about this when he was sitting down. One of my students who heard our conversation goes, "Mr. Taylor," and he's like, "Yes," and she goes, "I wish that you were my dad." And it was so simple. She just flat out said, "I wish you were my dad." And he goes to me, he's like, "Did you hear that?" And I was like, "I did." And I just thought, wow, that just really said something to me about the culture at Garfield and just how easily a kindergartner can say that. Today was another good day at placement. I got to do a lot more, I guess, than I did last semester still. I got to do a read aloud right when I got there, which was awesome. There was one other girl from high school there, and she was doing a bunch of speech tests with the kids while I was passing out papers. And then we rotated in the afternoon. She left, and then I got to do a lot of speech tests. The one thing I definitely learned this week was patience. I always considered myself a pretty patient person, but pretty much for the whole afternoon I was working with one student on his words, and he was just not getting them at all, and I didn't know what to do because my teacher just told me to keep going over them and over them and over them until he got them, and he was getting very frustrated with me, and he was like, "When is this gonna be over?" And he started misbehaving, and I just ah. So I think that this was a really good lesson for me as well, because it taught me to be really patient with him and just to take a deep breath and just to tell him that if he did a good job, I would give him a Hershey kiss, because we were working for a very long time. Half an hour is a huge amount of time for a kindergartner. but I think that over time working on something is a lot better than working on something in one large block. A very interesting day. I got to do a lot more than I've ever gotten to do in a classroom, and I've only worked with individuals before, but today I got to read a bunch of stories and control the whole class while my teacher was gone. This was totally new to me, and it was a little scary, not gonna lie, and whew, but it was really awesome just because I've always really wanted to teach a lesson, and that's a step up. The only thing bad about this, I guess, is that my teacher came up to me and she did say one thing. She was like, "I hope that you keep doing this to make sure that you really want to do this." I was a little discouraged because I'm really set on doing education, but she said she thinks I'll be a good teacher, and I think all it is that I need a lot more practice getting up in front and having control, and that they need to see me as an authority figure more, so I will need to pull cards and do other disciplinary actions like that so that they know that I mean business just as much as my teacher does. So this week was good. In placement, I got to do a lot more. I did their monthly stories that they have each month, and I've done that once before, and it went pretty good this time. They were acting out a little bit, but most of the time I was able to control the class. And then after that, I read a story that I've never read before. I think that's good too. I get some experience, spontaneity and everything like that. Another time, I actually got to bring in a book for the class, choose my own book, and then print out a worksheet. And so I did that, and it went pretty well. They were a little bit confused because it was kind of a hard worksheet, but some of them really did really well. And personally, I thought the worksheet was kind of hard for me even, but they did very, very well. And I'm just so proud of them because I can see them growing a lot in their learning, and it's just so awesome. And I know that they're respecting me more because they seem to get to know me more as I get up in front of the classroom, which I didn't get to do last semester. So that's really that's really good. And today was a little bit harder actually getting up in front of the classroom, but because they don't respect me as much as their actual teacher, hopefully I get to learn how you really set that form of respect soon. That way I do get respect from my students when I'm just helping out or student teaching or anything like that. Alright, that's all though. This week in field placement went really well. I got to get up in front of the classroom a lot more than I normally would have. I started out the day, I read them their monthly poetry packets is sort of what they're called. So I read them all of their March ones, and they listened pretty well. I think they're starting to get to know me as a teacher more, which is really great. And then after that, I got to bring in a book and do a worksheet with them, and that was really awesome because I got to choose the book and choose the worksheet and find a worksheet. And so I'm starting to get to that point of actually creating a lesson, which is very, very exciting. And I hope that I get to keep doing that in my other field placements, so that I'm not stuck just folding papers, even though I did fold booklets at the end of the day. But hey, I got to teach her a little bit, which is super awesome, and so it's going really well. Alright, that's all. In conclusion, I had a really awesome semester at Garfield. I got to do way more than I did last semester because last semester I mostly just did paperwork and booklets, but this semester I really got to go in front of the classroom. I even got to plan a couple lessons, read books almost every time I was there, as well as really connect with my students through individual sight words and other individual activities. I also even got to spend time in the TRC making a goodbye project for them, which was owls, and that made me realize not only how much time it takes to make a craft like that, but also just how much fun it is as well, showing me that this is still what I really want to do. In the future, I will remember how long this project took me and to make sure to alter my projects so that they do not take as long, or just to keep in mind time management and the time it will need to take. Overall, I really enjoyed my experience this semester. I'm really glad that I did get to go to a Garfield with such a great class, and that I'm starting to really feel like a teacher after being in a year of ECCO. I still do want to be a teacher, and I can't wait until next year. And that concludes my field placement portfolio.